great to see so many people here today. We had to add extra chairs, so I love that. So thank you all for joining us this morning for our town hall, and it's our special town hall. It's our CEO Awards of Excellence, so really glad that we could all make it. We're trying something new today. We are YouTubing live for those who aren't able to make it, so we'll see how that goes, but the test worked really well. So Kevin, thank you for being so ingenious, and Dan as well. They were here yesterday testing it out, and fingers crossed. So hello to all of those that are joining us remotely as well. Just a couple of housekeeping items. I did want to point out this is the first time that we've had some of our employee partners here today. So we have Hoop, we have EAP, and we also have Green Shield today. So if you have any questions, they're here to answer any that you may have. For the services, they provide a lot of services that you probably aren't even aware of. So it'd be great to talk with them and see how they can help you out. We also have in the middle table, or the second table in from the left, the social committee has put a great poster up. Kim designed it, so thanks Kim, it looks great. We also have a sign-up sheet for our big bike event, which we are going to be riding in honor of Paul Mayville, who recently passed away. So if you would like to sign up or support that, that would be great for Heart and Stroke. And also there is a card from Paul Mayville's family thanking us for flowers and I believe a gift card for dinner, so they didn't have to worry about making dinner during this difficult time. So we do have a packed agenda for you today, and so we're going to get right into it. And we do have our years of service that we would like to start off with. So we'll do our years of service. And for our 5 and 10 year recipients. We will also then have our departmental updates, and then Paul will be coming up and saying a few words of wisdom that he always has, and our CEO Award of Excellence. And then afterwards we'll have, there's some snacks at the back, time for you to mingle and catch up with people that you don't get to see very often, as well as ask any questions or visit the booths that we have here today. Okay, oh, and Jane, is it your birthday today? Oh, well, happy belated, Jane. You don't look a day over, oh, Derek wants to sing to you. We'll sing at the end for you? Okay, it'll be a great version, I know, I can hear it now. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get into our service recipients, and then we'll sing happy birthday at some point. I'm sure somebody will lead the singing for Jane. So Paul will be coming up to hand out the cards and the pins. So as you know, our strategic directions of people and service go hand in hand, and TransForm success depends on our commitment of our employees and also on the service provided to our member hospitals. So it is my pleasure today to recognize TransForm employees who have achieved 5 and 10 years of service as of December 31st, 2016. So we'll first start with our 5-year recipients. So as I call your name, could you please come to the front to receive your pin? And once you receive your pin, Scott Magnish, everyone knows Scott. He's our photographer today. Will be outside, if you can follow him, and there will be a photo opportunity outside for our newsletter. So first of all, I'd like to recognize Nicole Goodyear, a senior systems analyst based at Hotel Dieu Grace. Steve Blinston, Senior Applications Analyst at Windsor Regional. Aww, a hug. Martin Heath, Support Analyst at Windsor Regional, who sends his regrets, but maybe he's joining us on YouTube Live, so we'll give him a round of applause anyway, just in case. Ryan Yao, Application Analyst, also at Windsor Regional, Olette Campus. Is he saying you're too young to be 5 years already with us? William Ross, Perioperative Material Manager at Windsor Regional, Olette Campus. And William, I just have to say, Poor William, I'm going to pick on him right now because the staff at Windsor Regional absolutely adore you, but they say you can't take vacation because they're lost without you. So I just wanted to pass that along. We really appreciate all the hard work, but you do need to take vacation. All right? Okay. Karen Howe, accounting assistant at our main office in Chatham. Kathy Clays, manager, accounts payable, also at our main office in Chatham. Steve Bodner, senior solutions architect based at Hotel de Grace, but he sends his regrets, but maybe he's watching, so we'll clap for him. And the perfect moment to sing happy birthday to Jane, because Jane McFadden, senior application analyst based at our main office in Chatham. Should we? Yeah. If I'm you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. She's leaving. Dear Jane, happy birthday to you. Yay. You're not leaving, are you, Jane? Oh, okay. We'll now move into recognizing employees who have reached our 10 years of service. And as your name is called, once again, please come forward to receive your pin. And then we'll follow Scott outside for a group photo. So we have Adina Shreve, senior application analyst based at Windsor Regional. Oh, Adina wants a hug. Kevin Orton, application analyst at Chatham Kent Health Alliance. Wow. Thank you. And Anna Purdy, senior application analyst based at Hotel de Grace Healthcare. So we really want to thank you for your efforts and your commitment to TransForm and to the health system in the Erie-St. Clair region. Thanks to employees like you, we're moving forward in our efforts to achieve our vision and our mission. Thank you so much. So now back by popular demand, I had no idea that you were looking forward to chief updates. So we put them back in the agenda. So we will start with Derek for supply chain, and then followed by Maz. And then we're going to have a security update as well from Mark. And then we will do finance and performance with Matthew, and then I'll finish off with the rest of the departments within TransForm.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the most comfortable chairs that Chatham Kent has to offer. Who's walking us? Okay, perfect. So I've got just a few brief slides for us today, talk a little bit about the activity of supply chain over the course of the last few months. Michelle's a little bit shorter than I am. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, over the course of this last year, I think we've had more significant events occurring. So I think, when we've given our updates in the past, I've probably had, 6, 7, 8 slides. I've really got in the weeds and dealt with a lot of the minutia. But really, over the course of this last year, we've had some pretty significant events. And the HMMS transition, which we've announced it a series of times that it would be forthcoming. I think I brought forward a message of great confidence while I sat behind the scenes chewing my fingernails. As to the date of the transition and as it was approaching. But I'm very pleased to say that beginning on January 24th and leading right up till April 3rd of this year, we have successfully transitioned all 5 hospitals, six significant sites within Erie-St. Clair. And that's really, that's moving all of our third-party logistics activity away from 2 significant vendors, being Cardinal Health and Stevens, very significant vendors that were providing exceptional service, but whereby the cost of those services were increasing at such a rate that we made a decision collectively that the model was no longer going to be a sustainable one, and that there was a better model in the future and on the horizon. So it's been a smooth transition. I would say a couple hiccups along the way, and we are now heading into what I would frame as phase two, and that being a process of normalization and resolution of any outstanding issues that remain. But thus far, we have transitioned away from two vendors, consolidated to one vendor. So we've optimized the transition in terms of placing all of the products on one truck now instead of two, which has some accretive benefits within the hospital environment. The process of normalization now begins, and myself and Toby O'Hara, who's general manager at HMMS, will be undertaking that work with the 5-member hospitals very shortly. Along the line with this transition, there was not just the benefit of optimizing delivery. There wasn't merely the benefit of reducing costs in delivery, but rather of collaboration in our strategic sourcing work plan. And by doing so, we've been able to project over the course of 5 years millions of dollars in savings that are merely growing by the day, thanks to the work of our sourcing team, our purchasing team, and the data analytics and integrity team each and every day with the opportunities that they bring forward. So subsequently, though, I expect that the work plan strategy will be leading us towards a more linear GPO strategy. So today we work with MedBuy, and HMMS utilizes HealthPro as their group purchasing organizations. As we move forward, I expect a more collaborative approach with both the first amongst ourselves, and then utilizing a singular GPO as in due course. And what that really will mean is it'll mean a pretty significant decision point for our member hospitals and for the member hospitals in LHIN 2 that HMMS services. So there'll be some exciting news come along the way and some activity moving forward. If we move, we already have. As we see here, this is we have a number of key performance indicators, operating performance indicators that we report on. I of course have fallen in love with the cost savings indicator because this is the one that we speak to our hospitals. I would suggest on the most frequent basis. Very pleased to announce that the results from the 2016-17 fiscal period have produced cost savings relative to our target of 135%. As you see on the eye chart up here, if anyone can read that, we've met our burden with all 5 with 4 of the 5 hospitals, I should say, and are very close with Hotel Dieu, Grace Healthcare. We've had some pretty significant wins along the way, and I expect those to grow over the course of the 17-18 year. For example, just very simple things like a renal dialyzer conversion saved nearly $250,000 this past year. Endoscopic consumables, we're able to reduce the cost by $350,000 across this LHIN. And M-modal transcription services, we reduced the cost between 15 and 20% across the LHIN, saving $300,000. If we had gone back to our previous slide, and I don't want to do that, but as part of our mitigation strategies, and mitigation strategies are related to the overall cost between baseline year 1 to year 2 in terms of the delivery model that we had with Cardinal versus HMMS. We've implemented approximately $500,000 of cost savings, and this is really just scratching the surface today. So those savings are already in place, implemented this fiscal period, and that's really from work that's only occurred over the course of the last few months. On the docket, we're contemplating another $300,000 that we'll be bringing forward to our member hospitals, and I expect that number to continue to grow and grow as the days go by. One moment. I had the pleasure over the course of the last week to accept the GHX Excellence Award as the Canadian Provider of the Year. Myself, Matthew Little, Scott Williston, Caitlin Dryden were in attendance at the conference. The criterion on the board here relates to 3 key areas of criterion that are specifically affected by the work that our supply chain team is involved in, day out. The ranking of what they call the big three, being price exceptions, SKU exceptions, and unit of measure exceptions. So really monetizing the value of our data within relative to our peers, not just in Canada, but well, in terms of this award in Canada, but really right across the continent. I think today, Caitlin will correct me when I'm wrong, should be about 5 seconds from now. We're currently ranked about 16th, I think, in North America, around that. So we've got 15 to go, I think it's the message. The award is based upon these quantifiable criteria, the strategic execution of supply chain related activities in support of organizational objectives and EDI utilization. So we're very pleased that to accept this award back to back, because of course we were the 15 recipient as well, and we'll be looking forward to the three-peat in 17. At this time, I'd like to ask Scott Williston, I can't find where there he is at the back, to join me. And I'm going to ask a few members of the team that played a key role in this achievement to join us as well. And so Scott, if you'd be kind enough to hand out certificates to those. But if Bob Smith could join us at the front. Caitlin Dryden, Sam Thrasher, and Gabby Guerra. Bob Smith's one of his key responsibilities is the management of the vendors with GHX, and that has played a key and critical role in our improvement of our EDI capabilities within the organization over the course of the last year. Of course, that had a significant impact on the criterion that led to our being named the Canadian Provider of the Year with GHX for a second year in a row. Caitlin Dryden leads our data analytics and integrity team. It's been really transformative work that she's been involved in over the course of these last, it feels like 3 years. Feels like 3 years on this team. 2.5. We'll call it 3. And her work with Gabby and Sam has really led to the positioning, and it's extremely competitive people, all three of them. And so on a monthly basis, we'll kind of get this up to, hey, we're 78th in the continent this month, 45th. I'm very pleased. I mean, we're in the top 20. We're going to be, we'll be recognized as one of the top 50 providers at the GHX Summit next year. I'm quite positive. And I'm also looking forward to our three-peat. But sincerely, thank you for all of the work that you've engaged in to assist us in this award. And what I'd like to do at this time, because some of our teammates were not here, I'd like to present this award directly to Caitlin Dryden and the team. Yeah, how do you want to do that? Whatever you want to do, Scott, you're the boss. Okay, so we'll do that in just a moment. That's the conclusion of my presentation. Thank you.
Trash talking starts. All right. Good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be in a situation where I can say we've accomplished anything as amazing as our colleagues have, but we have been on a 4-year journey to find a new HIS platform, and we're still underway. The positive news is we've managed to talk to 9 hospitals, and we found 4 that actually want to partner with us, potentially. So that's positive in this aspect that we've got our hospitals agreeing to go through a process where we're going to be talking to 4 hospitals. Hopefully by June, we'll be in a position where we're going to actually pick an organization we are looking to partner for strategically for 10 plus years. So maybe the next time we meet, we'll actually be able to say we've accomplished something that's very, very significant for our 4 hospitals. They have been on their platforms for a very long time. They've let them age to a point where they could fail at any time. Knock on wood that they don't, even though we have seen situations where we have had issues recently. The teams are doing a great job of working with vendors to try and identify mitigation strategies. So we're doing everything in our power to ensure the longevity of these systems to a point where we can actually bring ourselves to adopt a new modern system with another organization that will give us the sustainability to not only keep things up and running, but also achieve some potential benefits around patient care, efficiency for hospitals as well. So that's all underway. The goal is, as I said, by June, hopefully we'll be in a position where we can announce we've actually picked a partner that we're strategically moving with. So fingers crossed that actually happens to schedule. Next slide. In terms of some things that we have and can say that we've been successful at, our IT team's done a great job of identifying how we want to spend our evergreen dollars. 4+ years ago, we successfully negotiated with our hospitals to give us 5 years worth of funding to manage the regional data centers evergreening funds. So that was a great achievement because it basically gave us the ability to know we had dollars earmarked to maintain and sustain the core infrastructure that kind of runs all their systems. This is coming onto our 4th year, and the team was able to propose this is where we want to invest the next round of capital, and we got approval from our regional high tech to proceed with that spend. Goal is that this coming next year, we'll go around and ask them for the next 5 years worth of budget to support the future sustainability of the regional data center. Another great thing is, given the investment we've had in the regional data center that's hosted by Integris, we were actually responding to a public sector request for proposal to basically outsource that as a service to other hospitals. So the good work that our team's done to kind of keep that system or that service up and running has actually put us in a position where we could take on potentially other customers. Now, like any public outsourcing procurement, the date for a decision was 6 months ago, and we still haven't heard anything from them. But we're very optimistic that we might hear something one day. Citrix Storefront, you should have all seen the notice that the team is aggressively pushing out updating Citrix. Again, it's something that's it's another area where we've let the system reach a point of it's about to fail. So now we've got everything in place to mitigate that by rolling that out, and that's underway right now, as well as the work we're doing with Microsoft Office Exchange. So again, team's very busy trying to identify ways that we can continually improve and enhance the services that we offer to our customers. So in this case, getting us to the latest version of Office and Exchange is something that's going to be beneficial. I won't touch too much on security because, as we said, Mark is going to talk about that. Again, cybersecurity as well as privacy are two big concerns that is becoming even more paramount in this age. With most of our stuff getting into an electronic footprint, there is a higher risk of the damages being significantly greater. Before, if everything was paper, it was hard for someone to hack in and get it. Now that everything's more electronic, it's easier for people to either hack in or convince you to accidentally send something out. So it goes with being very hyper-vigilant about people trying to fish information out of you, or you accidentally sending something electronic that you shouldn't have sent to the wrong person. So Mark's going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. Project management, again, this is another service. It's the middle one over here in our little big thing, so it's got to be important. So our project management office is something we've had for a few years now. We're investing more into it to the point where Hotel Dieu is actually asked to use the same systems that we're using to kind of manage all the different projects we're doing. And we're really making a push here to try and get every project, whether it's managed by our project managers or whether it's just managed by our team, put into that system so that we can have kind of top to bottom views as to what's going on. We're even getting questions now from our hospitals saying, well, can we have all our projects in there? So even stuff that they're doing on their own is being managed in that. So complete end-to-end, we're seeing what's happening, what the status is, and then being able to actually talk in the same language with everyone else. So a lot more to do in project management office because again, it's going to be very critical to what we have to do internally. But as we get to doing an HRS system, which is going to be the mother of all projects, we need to have that tool set in place. So all the work we're doing now is just setting us up for the future. And then last item before I close, we're about a 3 and a bit year organization. We came together by taking over the IT groups from all the hospitals. We need to now focus on how do we improve our services to our customers. So two of the things we're doing there is defining a service catalog. If you talk to anyone in the hospitals, from a nurse on the ward to a director of a department, I bet you they can't tell us exactly what does TransForm do for them. We need to define that service catalog, especially in the ITIM area, so they understand, okay, what do we do and what don't we do? We can share all the funny tickets we get to go and clean up puke or something from a floor, but that's not a service we provide to them. But some people think we do, so clearly we have to make sure they understand what we do provide to them and what we don't. So the service catalog is key, but it's also going to get us to defining service level agreements with them, so they understand if I submit a ticket for my mouse, which doesn't have a battery to be fixed, it's not going to be as important as the printer in the OR or as a PAC system's down. So different people have a different perspective of what's important to them, but we have to put it in the context of what's important to the overall organization. So that's a very important thing for us to achieve. And then intake. Most of our staff know they get a phone call from a colleague in a hospital, or they get a ticket submitted, and it's not very clear about what they're asking for or where it is in the priority. So we need to give them visibility as to what we're working on, what they're asking, so we can appropriately then respond to them, again, to a certain service level. All this is around expectations management with our hospitals and getting to a point where they understand what they're asking us for and then what their expectation is for us to deliver to them. So another key thing that's all around improving our service to our hospitals and just really looking at ourselves internally and saying, what can we do to do our jobs better? Okay, and last slide. I could ask for questions. Anything? No? All right, sounds good, thank you. And then thank you very much for your time, and we'll move on to the next subject, which is Matthew and finance. Oh, no, sorry, Mark. Mark first.
Thanks, Maz. I'm just going to quickly go over some security and privacy items that have come up and that you just need a quick update on. The first one is to do with PHIPAA. That came out quite a few years ago. There's a Bill 119 that came out that was had some variations on it. One of the things of importance for you guys is for the fines for willfully exposing patient information or causing a breach. They've doubled, at least personally and also corporately. Recently, a student was found to have willfully surfed a whole bunch of patient records and their fines were $25,000 personally. So just to be aware of that. Also, we're going to be improving some of the e-learning things around privacy as well. And also, just so you know, I don't know if you caught the announcement, Maz is our Chief Privacy Officer now, and it used to be Paul, but it's been passed over to him. I'm pretty sure Paul still remembers some of the stuff, but he won't admit it, I'm sure, right? Next up, security policy. So it's been revised and approved by the board and the senior leadership team, and we're working to publish the latest information from that with the hospitals. We're going to need your help, though, in identifying gaps to these, because these are standards which are eHealth's best practices for hospital IT departments, things like that. So we know there's going to be gaps, and we can't be everywhere to find the gaps. We might need your assistance then in identifying some of the gaps in some of the systems that you guys use or processes that you follow. Next up. Several security tips, most of them around default passwords. Some of these are for personal use as well as for hospital use and things like that. If you're handed or you've gone and purchased a new router or a new thing for home, or you've been given a new application from a vendor and that sort of thing, there's always a default password on it. Make sure it gets changed to something appropriately complex, things like that. I'm not too sure why you'd want your toaster to be talking to the internet and the Internet of Things and that sort of thing, but they all come with certain passwords and things like that. Just make sure you change them. Personally, I use a different password for work as well as a different one for home and a different one for social media, things like that. So I try to keep everything separate. And my most important one, of course, is my banking one. I keep that one totally separate than anything else. So they're really complex. So, let's see. Also, we're going to be sending out security tips and memos in different publications. Please pay attention to them. The other ones you can read, but basically, as far as phishing is concerned, trust but verify. If you get a strange attachment or something in the mail that you weren't really expecting, that phone up the person and say, did you really send this? That sort of thing. Okay, thanks. So under, lastly, we're working on several projects to improve security within the organizations. We can throw technology at the issues, but we're expanding our tool sets. We need your assistance, though, because you are ultimately the group that is facing the customer or facing your colleagues in that and talking about security and things. So we can throw technology at different issues and that, but there's always ways around technology from a personal or process point of view. So we would like you to provide, we're providing services for the customers and they're looking to you also for assistance and stuff like that. So know that your security and privacy team is available to answer any questions and that sort of thing. If you need to escalate it, we're available all the time. And that's it.
All right, good morning again. Got to raise this up a little bit. So here we are, finance and performance, and as you don't know, finance also includes accounts payable. So we process a lot of volume in that unit. It's not to minimize that at all. So first slide here, we talk a little bit about, you heard service catalogs and service level objectives and service level agreements. They're all tied at the end of the day to our 4 pillars, which each one of our departments has various objectives that we're expected to meet within those areas. So just on the slide behind me, I'm not going to read it. It talks about some of the key areas that we as finance and under my portfolio are working on, such as developing an operating model, looking at new ways to do old tasks, and understanding our resource allocation and how they're funded by our member hospitals. So there's been a lot of work going on in that in the background, and you'll see a lot more in the upcoming future. Sorry. The dashboards did not throw a slide up here, but it's also a performance area of our organization where they help support our service level objectives in order to determine whether we're meeting our various strategic objectives. Next slide. I want to focus on 16-17, our fiscal year that just ended. Some great highlights of our team. We continued to process over $500 million of spend of our member hospitals. So if you think about it, the LHIN funds $1.2 billion within our region. Almost $800 million is our hospitals. $500 million of it goes through our doors. So it's quite a significant portion of spend for our region of being Erie-St. Clair. And that represents about 200,000 invoices that we processed this past fiscal year, again, being the second year in a row at that volume. Our invoice payments are processed at about a 93% ratio on EFT. That means we're reducing our footprint of manual checks, our mail footprint, et cetera, and the fact that we're reducing our potential fraud and risk of exposure there. At our previous meeting, I think we talked about a credit card functionality of payment where we're taking advantage of programs offered by a vendor, being Scotiabank, where we can provide payments to vendors using a credit card, which offers rebate programs on the total spend, as well as it helps delay our cash flow required to provide payments. So that's still underway. We've actually begun some initial testing. You'll hear more about it at a future session on the success of it. In this past year, we've also expanded our offerings of services to some community partners, being the CMHA Lambton Kent and the Chatham Kent Community Health Centers primarily. And I think it's gone off with a high degree of success. Obviously, there's always bumps and bruises along the way, but hopefully many lessons learned. And our dashboards are obviously published monthly, externally to our customers, but they're actually published on a daily basis where they're updated, where we as an internal customer can review and see and identify early ahead of the stream where there might be opportunities for improvement or where there might be an area of risk that we need to modify. I'll turn to the next slide. On the finance side, we're projecting 16-17 fiscal year to be balanced. So good work to all of us. That is even given a 3% budget reduction that the member hospitals expected for fiscal 16-17. So that was only accomplished by much hard work by each one of the areas of TransForm, rolling up through the directors and the responsible chiefs in order to achieve that. So we're probably about 2 weeks away from finalizing our financial statements for 16-17, but I am confident to say that we will be in a balanced or small surplus position. So here we are. We supported the supply chain conversion, as Derek mentioned earlier, and our audit's coming up in just over 2 weeks' time. I'm looking at some of the finance faces in the room, and like, they got this weird grin. So one of the things I'd like to say is, you're an accountant, where especially this time of year, all you do is you dream about Excel, because we use it a lot. And last slide, looking forward for finance. We mentioned in the past about having Finance 101, 102 sessions. They were deferred for a number of reasons, but you'll see those pick back up in the fall. And what it is we look at what is a financial statement, how do you read it, how do you interpret the information, that's the 101, versus 102 is looking really the procure process, from procure to pay, what does that process look like, and how do you submit a requisition, how does that invoice get paid, and all the other steps in between. We'll be focusing on purchase order adherence with our member hospitals. We've heard it from our members to say, how can we improve our purchase order percentage ratios to match our invoices, which obviously has a ripple effect down the stream. We're not chasing hospitals, we're not chasing approvers for post approvals after the invoices are received, et cetera. And then lastly is our hospital handbook from 2010, for those that may recall. I think it was back in the early days of Procure. Requires an update. It's still very much Procure-ish, and needs to be transformed and incorporate some of the new areas of function that we offer today, and then ensure that the member hospitals understand how we function today versus how we functioned 7 years ago. That's all I have to say for today. So thank you. I'll turn it over to Michelle.
And now to the short person. Thank you, Matthew. Just gonna find my slides. Perfect. Okay. Getting a collection of slides up here. So within my portfolio, as many of you know, there's a lot of moving parts, most of it to deal with corporate initiatives. But the three areas that I wanted to focus on today to provide you some updates are client relations, the CSWO team, and then the people. Us. So the most interesting part, right? So as far as client relations goes, as you all know, we had a formal we're undergoing a formal TransForm review, and I really want to thank all of you for your input and your participation in the focus groups that we had recently with Paul. This all stemmed from a number of things, but what we wanted to start from was our 2016 customer survey. So as I'd mentioned before in the focus groups, we really need to applaud ourselves because our results are improving. However, the one indicator that we are starting to show a decline in is the overall satisfaction with TransForm. So while the negative responses has decreased, which is a good thing, the number of neutral responses, so, it doesn't matter, I'm neither here nor there whether I'm a fan of TransForm or not, increased. So we really wanted to take a look at that and really wanted to get at what each member hospital, site by site, what their pain points were and what they really liked about TransForm. And there was a lot of great compliments from our external focus groups that we had with our member hospitals about the staff of TransForm. So I really want to applaud you. They know you're working hard. They know that there's a lot of challenges that we have with our funding, with the resources that we have, but they're really eager and hungry to have a more strategic partnership with us. So I thought that was, there's a lot of things to work on, but there's a real eagerness to really work better together. So some of the themes that had emerged on both sides, it was interesting because of the focus groups that we were having internally and externally. They were very we're almost aligned. What we're thinking is what they're thinking. So some of the themes that emerged that I wanted to share with you is communication. So we all know we can communicate better internally with each other, with different divisions and departments, as well as externally with our member hospitals. The more that they know and understand kind of where, what the process is and what we're working on and how we're going to get there, the more understanding they will be, and vice versa internally as well. Also, expectation clarification is more of who who does what, and we all said that internally. What's my role? What am I expected to do? And our member hospitals were saying the same thing. What do we need to do in order to help you do your job? So there's that confusion there. So Maz and Derek and Matthew had talked about the service level agreements already and the service catalogs, which is kind of the start of where we need to go in order to understand that. And then silo busting. I think we all know that. We came together as two separate organizations into one, and we still need to do a better job working together and really understanding, again, who does what and how we work together and how we're a cross-functional team to achieve a common goal. So as I had mentioned, the next steps that we're going to be working on, and this is just some examples, there's more work to be done, and that will come out with Paul's review. So there's news to come on that, but I think given is the SLAs, and we've all been asking for them for a very long time, so this has been a long time in coming, and so we're looking forward to that. And strategies for working more collaboratively, again, internally and externally. And then process improvement opportunities. So even understanding what our processes are. I know because we're working at such a fast pace, a lot of times we're putting Band-Aid on Band-Aid on Band-Aid. So the bandages are thick and we need to rip them off and really understand what our processes need to be and how we're going to fix them and make them the most efficient for us to do our job as well. One of the exciting things that I think that has happened in the last little bit is we put in a bid through innovation procurement through the Ontario Centres of Excellence. And so you might be thinking, well, what is that? So innovation procurement, and help me Renee or Derek if I mess this up, but it's basically a lot of times we procure something and we say we need 10 water glasses. So we know what we want. We want them to be clear. We want them to be so high and so wide and to hold so much water. But what if we don't know? What if that's our best guess, but maybe it's something else that's better? Maybe there's something out there that we don't know about because we're not experts in everything. So it's basically having that question or that challenge out there and saying, this is what we need, this is what the end result is, so this is what we want to see as the outcome. Oh, Derek's giving me the thumbs up, perfect. I got it right. But we don't know how to get there. So we want the vendors to tell us that because they are the experts in the field. So having that type of partnership and those types of processes, and there's some different processes that MGCS has come up with. Mars, the Discovery District, if any of you have heard of them, they're all over this as well. So they put out a call for innovation procurement, but on a particular challenge that we may have. So something that we thought might be of great interest, not only regionally, but provincially and most likely nationally, is traceability of products. So right now, William and the other peri-ops that are here, I'm sure you can attest, because I saw it myself when William let me go on a tour with him. There's a lot of paperwork. Why are we using paper to track things? It doesn't make any sense. You go to a grocery store and you scan everything. And they know exactly where that head of lettuce came from, what truck it came on. So why can't we do that in healthcare? So that was the challenge that we have. We don't know what the answer is going to be. Is it barcoding? Is it RFID? Is it something else that we've never thought about? Do we need scanners? Do we not? And how can we make the work of our peri-ops and our clinical partners within our member hospitals become more efficient in the work that they're doing so that they can focus on patient care? So Windsor Regional, I was very glad to see put up their hand and said, we'd like to be the beta site. We'd like to be your partner on this. So we're looking, what we proposed is right now most likely to go through the OR and then expand out to the cath lab. And then there's an infinite number of, well, not an infinite number, but all the departments have, pharmacies put up their hand. We need this too because there's the dilution of the chemo drugs. And if we had a traceability solution, maybe that wouldn't have happened. So there's a real need for that out there. And here's an opportunity where we can really be a strategic partner in a different way than our member hospitals had imagined. So I'm crossing my fingers. I really want to thank, and Derek and I would like to thank Renee, Kim Ramirez, Helen Williston, Mary Jo Crawford, Sarah Donnelly, and Melissa Harrigan for all the work that they did on helping us to kind of define what the challenge is, as well as write the proposal to OCE. So it's up to $1 million for 2 years to do this innovation procurement. So we went up to Toronto to make our pitch to a panel of expert reviewers. And we should hear quite soon, in the next couple of weeks, I'm imagining, whether or not we were successful in that. I'm happy to say we did make it to that second stage, which is the last stage before they decide who they're going to fund. So I was pretty proud of that. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have some good news for you soon. The next area on the next slide that I want to focus on is the SSO team, and we're growing, and I'm really excited about that, and there's a lot of great reasons why we're growing. Bless you, Karen. So, as you can see, we have our team here. There's 6 new people. Some of them, have always been employees of TransForm, but they've kind of switched portfolios, and some of them are new. So we really want to welcome them to our team, and we've seen some really exciting initiatives under Melissa's leadership as the program manager, and Adam's as well, for really looking at our targets. With the SSO TPA, now they're not just focusing on signing people up. So now they want people to actually use the product. So they're disabling people who haven't used Clinical Connect after a certain period of time. So while we're trying to get new users, we're trying to maintain the users that we already have in order to meet our targets. Oh, and guess what? Now we have to focus on the community, physiotherapists, pharmacists, so on, and chiropractors, so on and so forth, because there's a lot of great initiatives coming out of this application that can be used. And our region has a unique set of challenges that other regions don't have. So we really need to focus on what that means and what our strategy is. So really pleased to have the team on board there to work on that. The work that Christine Moeller is doing with our benefits realization, we are ahead of the curve. We're kind of the example to all the other regions because of the work Christine has been doing on the benefits realization cases. So I want to say kudos to Christine for that. You've done an excellent job and really put us on the map for what benefits realization means. And I think you've got a lot of ideas in your head that we could take it to that next level. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, just some new initiatives with Clinical Connect. The drug repository is now coming out. We just celebrated this because Erie St. Clair was the first and only LHIN to do this. So I'm really proud again of the team and the work that they were able to do in order to make that happen. And again, that was congratulated by the lead of the delivery partners. So really, really pleased about that. Also, the Acute Care Clinical Data Repository, or the ACDR, is in phase 2, and now we're starting phase 3. So what that means is we're really having an opportunity to provide access to a lot of different reports that kind of talk between the acute care facilities, i.e. our hospitals, and then other care providers, so the community care access centers, so on and so forth. So this helps us to reduce duplicate testing. So when you go to an emergency room and they have to run all these tests again, you say, well, I just had that test done. Now I'm kind of at a critical point and now you're running all these tests that I just had because you don't have the results. So we're hoping to really address that with this application. So the work has been completed at Bluewater, Leamington, and Chatham, and now we're starting on the Windsor area for the next phase of that. So there's lots of work to do, and a lot of great initiatives and enthusiasm by the team. We also have a new data sharing agreement that has to go out. So there's a lot of work to be done, but a lot of exciting stuff too for our region. So the way you can help us, I know when I have a doctor's or a specialist appointment, I'm like, hey, why don't you have Clinical Connect or whatever? So just asking them about that and then putting them in touch with our team would be great, and we can explain the benefits. I know one of my workout partners is a OBGYN. I talked to her about it when we're working out. She's like, not you again. But we talk about it, and I explained to her how it would be a good thing for her, and so hopefully we'll get some new users even with the conversations that we're having. And lastly, but most importantly, I feel, is our people update. On the next slide. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you. This will be coming out more in the next couple of weeks. The engagement survey that we all completed. So really thankful for you for completing the survey. We had an 80% participation rate, which is phenomenal. So appreciate that, and really appreciate the feedback that you gave us. And the feedback that you gave us said that we have work to do as an employer. And that's okay, because we need to know what we need to do that's within our control in order to make this a great place for you to work. Okay? So our PEP committee, our People Engaging People committee, is meeting on Thursday to review the results. So if you have any feedback to your PEP committee members, just on where you're feeling, where you're headed, what your thoughts are, what could TransForm do to make this a great place to work for you, where you want to stay here. We really want that feedback because what we'll be doing is compiling a summary report and then a corresponding action plan. So the senior leadership team had an opportunity to review the survey, so we're starting to think about things that we need to do as a group in order to improve. But again, I guess the timing of the survey and the timing of the internal focus groups was maybe a little bit off because we probably could have hit on some of those concerns during that time. But hopefully you'll be as forthcoming and as helpful as you were for what we need to be doing as an organization to improve our customer service, also for what we can be doing to help make your job more satisfying and increase your level of engagement. Also, our policies are now on our intranet, and it's by no fault of our internal team. I know Karen and Jackie and Sarah and Dave have really been pulling their hair out with the application that we have. So we've gone to our intranet, which you did receive some notifications that they're now posted at the location that they're at, and we just need some acknowledgement from you in order to get to where we were before with the application that we had previously. And we're also doing the learning resource as a temporary fix too, right? So the training that you're having to do, the mandatory training, the legislative training, instead of through LMS, we'll be working on a solution through our intranet as well for now until we figure out how we can fix the issues. Also, I just wanted to congratulate our team with our Joint Health and Safety Committee and also the management. We've seen a real coming together of those groups and really looking out for the safety of everyone. So there's been a lot of great initiatives. I think Chris O'Neill and Jeff Dugan, the work that you have been doing as a management team, I just really want to, it's just been really made me proud that we have a management team that cares about the employees. A lot of times health and safety, you're like, oh God, I have to do this again. And you know, it's a piece of tape. What's wrong with that? Well, it's a piece of tape until somebody flips over it and then hurts himself and then they can't work for us anymore. We're busy enough as it is. Or ergonomics and the work that Megan is doing with making sure that your desks and your workstations are ergonomically correct. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that with Megan, and if you need your desk looked at, then Megan can help you out, so really appreciate that too. So because of all the hard work that we've been doing, WSIB has decreased our rate because we have less number of incidents that have happened. Also with our wellness initiative, as I'd mentioned before, we have our booths here, so this is the first time that we've done that, so hopefully you'll take advantage of it and ask any questions that you have. I forgot to mention that Green Shield has a lovely robe and something, Starbucks gift certificates there for a draw. They're not collecting any information, they're only collecting your name for the purpose of the draw, so get in on that, I would for sure. I like that robe, so anybody who wins it, just come see me, maybe I'll buy it off you. With engagement too, the social committee has taken on an actual calendar of events now, which is really cool to see, and that's thanks to Shabaz's leadership on that. So the euchre tournament, I love Dan and Doug's picture there. Dan looks like he beat the pants off Doug, and Doug is pretty sad about that. So the euchre tournament that we've been having on our lunch hour and even after work, so people are staying after work to play euchre, which I think is awesome, and it's a great way to interact with employees on a different level and get to know them. So I think that's great, and thanks to Matthew for sending out the results. It's getting very competitive. And then finally, the performance evaluations. Make sure, I guess this is more of a signal to our managers and directors and chiefs to conduct your employee evaluations. This is an opportunity to meet with your team to understand what they want out of their job. Again, it's an engagement thing and helping to understand where their pain points are, as well as setting goals and objectives and really getting to know what is important to everyone in order to do their job well and to be happy here. So just wanted to provide that update. HR has done provided some calendar reminders in our calendars, and the forms are available on our intranet under policies. And since this is the last time I have a chance to speak today, I think I've taken up 20 minutes probably, right, Kevin? But I just wanted to thank the work from Kevin and Belinda and Scott on putting the town hall together. It's a huge undertaking, and the video that you'll see later on for the CEO Awards, it's a lot of work. It may not seem like it is, but it's a lot of work to make sure it's seamless. I really want to appreciate you, and Karen and Rebecca as well, work that they do for the logistics, and Sarah for setting up the booth. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm getting the cane, so I got to go. So the CEO remarks and the CEO Award of Excellence, Paul.
Contaminated thing over here. Well, we were way ahead of schedule until the last speaker. So my job is to get us back way ahead of schedule. So that you wouldn't believe all this. I was going to say crap, but I shouldn't say that. All the stuff people give me to speak about. So I'm going to kind of abbreviate a little bit of it. But the first bullet point here says a lot happens behind the scenes. And that's the honest to God truth. So thank you all very, very much for contributing to our success. There's a few notes here that I know Derek and Michelle and actually Maz as well have touched on. So I'm gonna skip over that. But you know, a lot of efforts put in by our staff. I know that this last fiscal year end, finance and supply chain put in tons of hours to help the hospitals kind of wrap up on the invoicing piece so that year end could be closed up. I look at the amount of, what do you call those crazy announcements we get about scheduled downtimes. I can't believe how many of those actually I see every day. And I'm happy to see there's more of those than the unplanned downtime. So the IM group is doing a tremendous amount of work. And as Michelle alluded to, the CSWO team is really a bit under some pressure to hit some targets that I think we may have signed and agreed to, but it's certainly not a number we picked. The other thing I actually started to check because Karen sends me these, will you approve these going the extra mile things? Like she puts these letters to get. Normally I go, yeah, I don't read it because I assume if Karen's looked at it, it's as good as gold. But then I was getting so many of them, I said, who the hell is putting all this stuff in? And as it turns out, a lot of them are actually coming from our hospital members. So kudos to the staff for doing a bang-up job that you're actually being recognized by our members, our owners. So as most of you know, the original plan, like most plans that revolve around me, they tend to be somewhat fluid. We had started meeting with Blue Water Health back in February as part of our staff focus groups, and the whole intent was at least my brainwave was I'm going to really just push through Blue Water really quickly. We'll get a draft SLA done, and we'll have something to work with the rest of the hospitals. But based on that conversation, I started to think, you know what? I really just had the sense I need to talk to all the other hospital staff as well before we do too much. So Blue Water Health, I think I may have told you that, you know, within a few weeks you'd see something. Well, in a few weeks you may see something, but it's a few weeks from today, not a few weeks from February, because I've already missed that by a couple months. So really talking about what's working, what's not working, and all the good things coming out of there. The next, where's Scott? And I just agreed this morning that the next, the message from the CEO is really going to revolve around the Windsor Regional Hospital announcement around the new hospital build and what that kind of look and feels like for TransForm. So you'll hear more about that. I used to wonder what CEOs did. Now that I know, the retirement's looking better. And there's somebody here to help you with that program. But I spent a lot of time speaking with hospital CEOs, the VPs that I feel I report into. So the Marie Capanias, Mark Fathers, now Jerome Quenville at Chatham, and Sam are up in Blue Water, as well as the Lynn. And what I can tell you is that there's been a significant change over the last little while from all those individuals. And in particular from the LHIN, now that they've gotten their marching orders with the CCAC coming into the LHIN and the patient-first strategy that's being mandated from the province, they're actually looking to us for some support in supporting the patient-first strategy. And that whole strategy is really going to be around integrating the entire healthcare system. So when we look at some of the stuff Derek had referred to around what's going on in supply chain, what we're being asked from the LHIN, and then the activity, what's going to start to happen around Windsor Regional from a planning perspective over the next little while, it is going to be absolutely crazy busy around here. So when I was actually working, not sure what I'm doing now is working, but when I was actually working, I used to say, well, this is as busy as it's ever going to get. So I've survived this, thank God. And every time I say that, there seems to be an elevated height. So hang in there. If you don't want to be bored, this is definitely the place to work. I've heard, I was going to ask, but I decided better judgment probably. Is there any rumors that I should be aware of? So I don't say anything that contradicts a good rumor. But I'm not going to say that. So I'll just let everybody know this. The work that I'm focusing on, there's 5 areas, but there's really 3 big pieces. There's the whole HIS piece, which Maz has well underhand. There's a supply chain piece that Derek and I've had a few whiteboarding sessions with, but I'd have to say that that path has already been well established, and it's something we've been working on over a period of time. And then there's this operational review piece. So part of that was doing the focus groups. I've sat down with each chief, reviewed every position, because I think we're getting into a situation, and Matthew mentioned that we somehow managed to achieve a slight surplus, and that includes a 3% reduction. But I think if those asks for reductions continue to happen, it's going to get extremely difficult to do that. So the focus group piece, the review in each position was really meant to build a case that says, okay, if we can't reduce anymore, at least that's my feeling. I mean, there's probably always something we can do, but that's kind of the message I'm starting to deliver to the hospital CEOs. But all the work I'm doing is really intended to come to a head sometime in September, the end of October, I think. We're planning a meeting with all our stakeholders, so hospital CEOs, some of their VPs, and the LHIN to actually talk about what TransForm's, I'm going to say, future looks like. And in particular, it was intended to be a review of our strategic plan to say, so much is going on in healthcare. Does the plan we created, I guess, in 15 that ran from 16 to 18, does it still make sense? And for the most part, I think the global headings still make sense. Some of the pieces under there may change a little bit. And I think what's going to happen, and one significant thing I feel it's my challenge to get the hospitals to start thinking about, is that often if things didn't go right, they were saying, well, you're too distracted. What are you doing with supporting CSWO? What are you doing supporting IAR? Because, somebody forgot to pay an invoice. All of a sudden, it's because we're distracted. That's a bad example, but anyway. And I think what's going to happen is we are in such a strong position to help this region from a health system perspective that the hospitals are going to have to change their thought process a little bit. So I think they're going to actually have to embrace the notion that we need to be engaged with other organizations outside their own. So I think some of the change is going to be, so what's that need to look like? Because they're still our major funder. They still pay all our salaries for the most part. And we've got to continue to, I feel like at least I have to continue to promote the fact that TransForm benefit value add to the member hospitals is actually going to start to look different because it's going to be outside the hospitals. So anyway, so that's a piece of work I'm working on. So anyway, all that's coming in October timeframe. There will be more on that kind of stuff later this fall. So I think that's it for me, other than the CEO Awards of Excellence. So this is something, I can't remember when Shona started it, if it was the first year she was here or the second, but As a management team, we're happy to continue to support it. This year we had 2 nominations, and I had some assistance from Jackie Shabazz and Lisa LeBombard. Shabazz and Lisa, primarily because they were recipients last year, so we asked them to look at the 2 submissions and help score it, and Karen coordinated all that stuff, and we actually didn't need a meeting because I think when the results all came back, there was, I want to say it was unanimous decision on what that looked like. So again, there was 2 teams, and if we're ready with the video, you guys can show that.
The 2016 CEO Award for Excellence nominees. The HMMS team.
If it's a product that needs to be purchased by a hospital, it really rolls through supply chain and rolls through our logistics program. And so by reducing the cost of products, we're reducing the cost to frontline patient care.
Our project was to change our major supplier of med-surg supplies to all the hospitals and consolidating to one vendor, which happens to be another SSO, Healthcare's Materials Management System, commonly referred to as HMMS.
This team has achieved an accomplishment that, frankly, I thought was going to be much more difficult and challenging to us as an organization.
It was very exciting, and it really kind of reinforces the hard work that this team went through. We had some folks on this team who dedicated a lot of hours, blood, sweat, and tears. Any of the efficiencies we gain really drive that money back into the healthcare system, into direct patient care.
This team has come together over the course of the last year to produce a monumental transformational change within the organization.
The accounts payable team.
So the AP team here has the responsibility to ensure that all invoices, whether received electronically or paper-based, are processed in the manner that's required.
Really important that these things are done because the hospitals, they really depend on us for their financial information.
The team, as you know, our normal hours of operation are 8 to 4. The team typically puts in additional hours as required. They will go above and beyond and not only process invoices, but actually dig a little deeper to see if there's something else missing from a documentation standpoint. Without paying the invoices on time and in a manner that the vendors can be satisfied with, you will have a direct impact on those supplies being at that bedside or in the operating room when those patients require them.
Paying invoices in the finance department seems very far removed from actual patient care.
But it's a crucial part to the supply chain procure-to-pay process.
I believe they deserve the award because they've continued to, in the last 2 years now, the last fiscal year being 16-17, they've continued to exceed all expectations.
The 2016 CEO Award for Excellence nominees.
So the winner is the HMMS transition team. So Scott, Renee, Bob, Sam, Kathy, Gabrielle, Caitlin, William Ross, Scott. Anyway, Scott and Tom Marshall, who's no longer here. right. Don't forget, nominees and recipients should follow Kevin wherever Kevin's still behind the camera, out in the hall right after we wrap up here to get your pictures taken, and same with the 5 and 10-year folks. We have a little bit of snacks at the back, so everyone please hang around and say hi to somebody maybe you don't know or you haven't seen for a while. And don't forget to visit the booths. And that's it. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a great day.